Oh, go ahead. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Good afternoon.
When people ask us who we are, we tell them we're problem solvers. When people opportunity creators, we tell them and change makers. We are Rotary opportunity creators. Around the world, our network of 1.4 million neighbors, friends, and leaders volunteer their skills and resources volunteer their skills and resources to solve issues and address community needs. Take action with us to solve issues. Find out more at rotary.org/action. Take action with us to solve issues. Find out more at rotary.org/action. When people ask issues, find out more at rotary.org/action. When people ask issues, find out more at rotary.org/action. When people ask issues, find out more at rotary.org/action. When people ask issues, find out more at rotary.org/action. When people ask issues, find out more at rotary.org.
Good afternoon. I would like to call this meeting to order. A happy new year, everyone. I bet a wet one, but I guess we need the water. We have hoped to have the meeting today in person to start off the new year, but due to the inclement weather and safety for everybody, we have switched to Zoom. So I'm sorry for some of the confusion. It says, where are we? On Zoom or in person or both? Well, we're on Zoom today. So I am Mary Jiang, president of the Oakland Rotary Club, founded in 1908. We're the third oldest club of some 36,000 Rotary clubs in over 200 countries around the world. As I said, we're starting the new year with wet weathers, and I guess we need the rain. So anyway, we are a diverse community of 270 business, professional, and community leaders who unite to serve our local and international communities through a commitment to service above self. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our 5,418th meeting. Who's counting? In the California Ballroom and online. For over 114 years, we have welcomed Rotarians and guests to our club meetings. For those attending, all of us attending online, if you are a visiting Rotarian or a guest of a Rotarian, please enter your name in the chat box located at the center at the bottom of the screen so that we can recognize you in a few minutes. If you have any comments or want to ask a question of the speaker, please use the chat box. We recommend you view today's meeting using speaker view located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Now for our thought for the day, I'd like to welcome Rotarian Ms. Rika White Soso.
Thank you, President Mary, for this opportunity. I am a therapist, and as such, I encourage my clients to feed their minds with affirmations and assign them to commit to at least one self-care activity a week. In this new year, I extend the same to us, to you, as Rotarians who connect, take action, and build community. Oakland Rotarians are service-driven change makers. We are constantly overloaded with negative news stories, world disasters, and our own life stuff. As Rotarians, we address our things that are through our 13 community programs locally and internationally. As we fight for a better world, it's essential that we practice self-care, feed ourselves positive energy, have a clear mind, a heart about who we are and why we serve. I encourage you to find an affirmation to meditate on to assist you with staying centered, focused, and ready for the work we do in Oakland and beyond. We, the club, and the community needs all of us to be our best selves. Here's an example of a strong community service affirmation. I ask for advice and help when needed, and do not vie for any accolades or honors that come with giving back. I serve because that is my purpose on this earth. When I fulfill my purpose, I am in turn a better human. This is my reward. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Rika, for that inspirational thought. All right. Peter, could you pull up the vision statement slide? And please join me in reciting the Rotary Vision Statement, everyone. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Guests are welcome to visit our club today online. Tom Lamone, could you tell us who has checked in as a guest or a visiting Rotarian?
Yes, President Mary, we have 2 visiting Rotarians that I know of, past presidents, John Gresley and Gudrun Dibdahl, welcome. And we have a guest, Monica Nunez, who happened to find us online and is visiting. So welcome, Monica. We appreciate you being here. And Dave Cannon is also here, who's a guest of Ryan Spink. So welcome all.
Good, good. And as other people chime in, come in, if you're a visiting Rotarian or a guest, put in a chat box and we'll recognize you later in the program. All right, so today I have the privilege of introducing Ms. Rika White-Soso, who will now also give us her 3-minute self-introduction. She wants to do everything in one meeting.
All right. 3 minutes for self-introduction. Only 3 minutes. 3 minutes to introduce a complex yet simple person like me. All right, let's see. Well, I was born in Oakland, California at Highland General Hospital to 2 young parents who named me Frederica Louise White. Raised in Oakland, Vallejo, Vacaville, Fairfield, and due to unforeseen family changes. Also, I've lived in San Francisco and Richmond. I'm a true Bay Area girl. Depending on when or where you met me, I am Frederica, or Freddie, or Miss Rika, or simply Rika. I'm a daughter, sister, aunt, bonus mom, a doggy mom, and a grandmom, and oh, I forgot, wife. I'm a professional. You know, the thing that most of us think about when someone says, tell me about yourself, the safe part of us, the thing we do that most of us spent so much time preparing for educationally, in training, and then maybe works for the man or the woman for umpteen years. I'm a social worker. Currently, I'm a lecturer and a mental health therapist in private practice. So yes, I have some ABCs behind my name, but I am simply Rika. I'm a community girl. I support grassroots movements that speak to me. You may find me at a rally, at a health fair, at the lake, hobnobbing. You might see me at an eatery with the oh so good foods. You might see me shopping at a mom and pop store, at a farmer's market somewhere in Oakland on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday after church, even after virtual church. Or you just might see me walking down the street being simply Rika. I volunteer. I've helped charter a few and am a member and have been a leader of various professional, charitable, community service organizations. And if they have a social component, that's a plus, because as volunteers, we want to have fun. And you know, we know about that, Oakland Rotary. I'm a collector of Marvin Gaye paraphernalia, which you've heard before. I collect elephants and hearts, but not literally anymore. Oh, and wait, I did not share that I love to sing in choirs and praise teams and solos. I'm up for anybody who wants to, anyway. And I write. I love professional sports, NBA basketball, Lakers, or Warriors. If they're not playing the Lakers, the WNBA, Sparks, NFL football, the Raiders. And for soccer, I might add the guest for today, the Oakland Roots. And I own a fantasy football team, the Oakland Crimson Crushers. You might check us out sometime. I get angry about injustices experienced by myself and to others. And did I say to myself, I fight for the underdog, especially when things seem unbalanced. It's a Libra thing. I fight for the right, even if I stand alone. And that's the Barbara Lee-ish me. I am simply Rika. Thank you.
Thank you, Rika. That was such a great story about your life, encapsulated in 3 minutes. We're going to learn more about you as you participate in other events so people get to meet you in person. All right. So today we're also going to have a special family package for self-introduction with Deep, the father, and Sandeep, the son. So let's have Deep start first. Seniority's rule.
Yeah, good afternoon, all friends of Rotary, for being here today. My name is Deep Rajbandari. I joined the Rotary Club last year, and I'm originally from Kathmandu, Nepal. My father was one of the founder members of the Rotary Club around 50 years back in Kathmandu, Nepal, and a businessman. I too started and managing the business on a very young age of 16 years. So I went flying schools in Fort Worth, Texas, around 1978, and I started my flying career shortly. Then I started my own business, which is an aviation, insurance, drilling company, with the partners of government of Nepal as well as our Danish partners on a drilling company, and the other is on the public limited company. Some of the companies are still operating in Nepal, and some of them is basically closed. Now I'm retired with the 2 children. My son is the businessman, as you have already mentioned, and also the member of the Rotary Club. And my daughter, she is an attorney. As you know, Nepal is known as a very famous trekking and high hiking at the Everest Base Camp, Annapurna Base Camp, and so on. If you like to visit this area, I think our adventure club, our committee is already arranging, led by Mark Rosen. Anyway, thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself in the Rotary Club. Thanks, Mary. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Deep, and this trip to Nepal sounds very interesting. So people might take you up on it. All right, so let's go to Sandeep, for your 3-minute introduction.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, President Mary Jung, for this opportunity. That was just my dad talking right now. If you didn't know, I am Sandeep Rajbandari. I am the CEO and founder of a company called Local Foods, a health food delivery service based here in Oakland. And if it wasn't for this company and my dad's background in, and my family's history with the Rotary, I would have never been a part of this. So I'm very grateful for that and to be here. So what my company does is it's a health food delivery service business. And I started this company with basically $2,000 out of my friend's studio apartment. However, that is the short form of the story. real story really started when I became really sick as a kid, growing up in Nepal, and contracted a disease called neurocysticercosis, which caused me, a lot of problems as growing up as a child. The symptoms were very severe, included seizures, nausea, high fever, extreme fatigue. But fortunately, my dad being who he is, and I was able to be treated at a hospital in Thailand for several months, where I was given very strong medication, and I was cured of the disease. The medications, however, had a lot of side effects and included brain fog, lethargy, and caused me to gain a lot of weight as a child. As a result, I struggled with weight management for many years and naturally developed a very complicated relationship with food. In 2006, I moved to California to pursue a degree in business and became more interested in health and wellness as well. I researched various diets and exercise methodologies and eventually found success in maintaining a very healthy body composition through a combination of healthy eating and regular exercise. It was through this journey that I became very passionate about the importance of nourishing our body with healthy food. Inspired by this passion, I founded the company Local Foods with the goal of providing convenient access to healthy meals made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. My experience and background make me uniquely qualified to do what I do, and I've structured the services of this company to fit the needs of people with health goals in mind. At Local Foods, we're dedicated to providing, not only dedicated to providing healthy meals, but also building a suite of software solutions that will make healthy eating more convenient than ever before for all. The administrative side of these tools are also being built to provide turnkey solutions to for other food businesses to flourish on. I'd like to invite all of my fellow Rotarians to explore, the services of my company and talk to me about what I am working on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lorna Marcus Padilla says that she said this is her first father and son self-introduction, and she thought that was very cool. Anyway, so the three of you guys who did your self-introduction, we're gonna now convert your red badge to a blue badge, and Jesse will take care of that. So the next time you pick up your badge in person, you have a changing color. So welcome. All right, so moving on. So as we know, numerous bills were signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom last year to take effect January 1, 2023. One of the new bills gave Californians a number of new state holidays on the calendar. Assembly Bill 2956 officially made Lunar New Year a state holiday. Hooray! Recognizing this day as a state holiday acknowledges the diversity and cultural significance Asian Americans bring to California, Governor Gavin Newsom said in a statement, and provides an opportunity for all Californians to participate in the significance of the Lunar New Year. This year, Lunar New Year falls on Sunday, January 22nd. It's early. Because we follow the Lunar New Year, which has 13 months. It's that unlike January 1st, every year is Western New Year. Because it's 13 months, it changes. It could be 1 month in January, next month it could be February, it floats. So you have to look at the calendar to know when actually New Year's. But this year's early, the year of the rabbit. So I'm happy to inform you that the Rotary Club of Oakland will celebrate Lunar New Year on January the 26th at Peony Seafood Restaurant in Oakland, Chinatown. Please join us in celebrating 2023 Year of the Rabbit. The cost is $75 per person for a 10-course Chinese banquet. Such a bargain. You are welcome to bring your own wine and beer with no corkage fee. Normally it's at least $25 a bottle for corkage fee. Please register online, and the deadline to register is January 23rd. So I hope to see many of you. This will be our first one in 3 years. We had one planned last year, and then COVID, surge went on in February, and we had to cancel. So I'm hoping, keeping our finger crossed, the weather cooperates, no COVID upsurge, so that we can all get together and have a meal to celebrate and networking with each other. So go online and do it. All right, moving on. Dudley Thompson, I hear you want to tell us something about competing with a Rotary Bowling League.
Thank you, President Mary, fellow Rotarians, and all of our guests. Last year, we started a bowling team. I think it had been defunct for maybe about 30 or 40 years. It's a fun group. When you say competitive, that's stretching the word a little bit. It's a casual group. I would call it light competition. And we're looking for people to bowl with us. I'm going to say if you can average 50 to 100, somewhere in there, which essentially means you can pick up the ball and roll it down the alley, boy, you're one of our folks. If you average over 100, I'm guessing you're going to be our next captain. And if you average over 150, you're like a superhero. So it's a casual group. The spring season lasts 6 weeks. It costs $89. You don't have to show up all the time. We bowl for about an hour and a half on Wednesday nights. The first week starts on January 25th. So there's about 3 weeks more to register. You register by getting hold of me. You can find my name, Dudley Thompson, in the directory or my email. It's by invitation as our team. So I need to extend an invitation to you. If you don't want to commit to 6 weeks, and I know I'm going to miss 2 of the weeks myself. So we're looking for some substitutes. So if you're willing to come down, it's at Plank, which is in Jack London Square. And anyway, I'll be talking about the next couple of weeks, and we sure wish that you'd join us. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Mary.
All right, thank you. All right, last month, I gave you more of a state of address for the Rotary Club for 6 months. Today, Michael Bruck and Jason Wiseman wants to give their version of the best of 2022 review skit. You take it away.
Well, thank you, President Mary. Hi, Jason. Happy New Year.
All right, now we're talking. Hi, Mike. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. President Mary gave her Oakland Rotary Club 2022 mid-year report last month, so we thought we should report on the entire year for our members.
Well, that's a good idea. Let's start with some of the words that were added to the dictionary in 2022. I bet most of us are familiar with the term gaslighter, which means a person who deceives and manipulates another into questioning his or her own perceptions.
Sure, but nobody in Oakland Rotary would ever be a gaslighter. How about the term stress bunny? This is a person who is stressed or has a tendency to become stressed.
Well, yes, 2022 had its stressful moments, but we all come to our Thursday Rotary Club meetings to take a break from all that stress. Here's a good one, sharesies, which means the action of sharing something with others in childish or playful language.
Maybe some of our 2020 Rotary announcements could be placed into the sharesies category. Let's move on to the most popular baby names in 2022. Should we start with names for baby girls?
You bet. The top 5 names for baby girls were Olivia, Emma, Amelia, Ava, and Sophia.
I'm not sure we have any Oakland Rotarians with those names. How about the top 5 names for boys in 2022?
Well, the top 5 for the boys are Liam, Noah, Oliver, Elijah, and Mateo. I don't think we have any members with those names either.
Sounds like a boy band. I'm sure the names of our president or president-elect and past presidents are popular, Where does the name Mary rank?
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Mary is number 199 on the list. How did the name Tom do in 2022?
I think we're in trouble again. Tom is number 1025, sorry, buddy, on this list, but I bet the name Dudley is right near the top.
Uh-oh, more bad news. Dudley is number 8,339. The good news is that a high percentage of Oakland Rotary members in the year 2052 will have those names. Let's take a look at the top charities in 2022.
Well, according to Charity Navigator, 4 organizations tied for first place. I wasn't familiar with 3 of those charities, but one of them rang a bell. The Rotary Foundation came in with a perfect score of 100.
Well, I could have told you that the Rotary Foundation was number 1 without even looking at that list.
President Mary, we look forward to another first place year for Rotary International and the Rotary Club of Oakland in 2023. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you for that review of 2022. And I'm glad 199 on the list is not bad compared to 8,339. All right. Okay, Tom Lamone, could you want to talk about maybe a pilot lunch program for 2023? Can you tell us about it?
Sure. Thank you, President Mary. And first, thank everyone for being here. I mean, we have 84 participants online today, which is great. And we wanted to start the year strong and get back to normal and the way Rotary was pre-pandemic. So no, thank you all for being here today and this great start to 2023. You know, as president-elect, I was invited to join the executive committee. And so I got to really appreciate the work and effort that goes on behind the scenes that the President Mary's doing, that Dudley was doing, that Seth Butner and Peter Sherris have done during the pandemic, and really had to make some tough decisions. But you know, in 2023, we're optimistic. You know, we want to get back to normal, and so as part of that, President-elect Shannon Hackley asked, "What about lunches?" And so that's always come up in our executive committee meetings every Monday for a long time. But you know, starting fresh 2023, being optimistic, we're looking to start a pilot program next week where we'll partner with a local business, and we'll start with the lunchbox, but it'll include a sandwich, chips, soda, and a salad. And so we're looking to charge $20. And to mix it up, you know, we can also look at exploring, Ike's, Ratto's, Wise Sons Deli. We can spread the business around. So, but we'd really like your support in making this pilot program a success and bringing things back to normal and getting people back in the ballroom for 2023. So I know the weather didn't cooperate today, but you know, next week, please join us and buy a sandwich. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So yes, please, next week, if the weather cooperates, please come in person, $20, buy a sandwich or a salad and a soda. It's great. I mean, the inflation these days, you know, we kept our $20 meal for at least the last 10 years. And that's really astonishing that we can keep the price that low. All right, Isaac Cosry, could you introduce our 2 guest speakers today?
Yes, President Mary, thank you so much. What an honor to be here among this group and to kick off the year this way. Speaking of kicking things off, if you enjoyed the World Cup, as controversial and passionate as it was, like I did, then you'll be excited to hear about our new speakers. They are 2 Bay Area natives who share a passion for soccer, as well as a passion for building a purpose-driven professional sports club here in Oakland, which is what they're doing together with an amazing team of people. Full disclosure, I'm a proud season ticket holder for the Oakland Roots. And if any of you want to go, let me know. I know we do our annual Rotary trip, but I would love to invite you all. These games are amazing. The energy is incredible. So to tell you more about what they're doing on the field in the back room to create an amazing professional sports club that's truly purpose-driven. Let's welcome Lindsay Behrens, the president of the Oakland Roots, and Idris Argandawal, who is the chief marketing officer and co-founder. They're going to be in conversation together. Let's give them a strong Rotary welcome.
Thank you, Isaac. We're so honored to be here with all of you today. We really admire the work of the Rotary and all the many contributions you make to our community. And we're excited to share with you a little bit about the Oakland Roots. I personally dislike speeches, so I thought it'd be more interesting for Idris and I to have a conversation, which I think is very interesting. And we're happy to take questions. So as I understand it, you can put questions in the chat, and then Isaac will help us filter those. But to start, Idris. Idris, as mentioned, is our chief marketing officer and also one of the co-founders of the organization. So Idris, tell us about co-founding a soccer team. What were you doing at that point, and how did the idea for this come about?
Thanks, Lindsay. And thank you again for allowing us to have this space. It's great to see familiar faces and new ones as well. The Rotary has been supportive since day one, before we even kicked off in August 31st of 2019. So again, thank you. Lindsay, to start, I mean, it's kind of a dream, and I have to pinch myself every day. Just being in the position that we're in. I am a first generation Afghan American, born in Oakland, raised in the Bay Area. My family came to Oakland, California from Afghanistan post-Soviet invasion, and they found refuge here. My first sports experience ever was at an A's game, and I can still remember the scent and taste of garlic fries to this day. And it was such an incredible moment because my family were so confused at the concept of fries and garlic combined with it. So anyways, you could see how much Oakland means to my family. They found happiness here, and a lot of what Oakland has provided my family, the Bay Area has provided my family, has been the premise for my passions and why I do what I do. I am a marketer by trade. I've built successful brands. I've done a lot of work from helping McDonald's McCafe transition from Europe to America, to work on the set of 106 in Park at BET, to assist Puff Daddy, or Sean John, as most people know him. And all of those experiences, along with my entrepreneurial stints, led me to ask the important question of why hasn't professional soccer in Oakland existed? And furthermore, why hasn't it existed in the way that challenges the assumption of how American sports teams are built? In Europe, what you have is clubs and sports teams built off the premise of community and built in, for lack of better words, the streets, the pubs, the day-to-day interactions between people. And we're common folk. I'm not a Mark Cuban or a Joe Lacob. I am literally a first-generation Afghan American born in Oakland, and we wanted to bring a different model of sport to the town because the town deserved it. And we led with an initiative called Oakland Pro Soccer in 2017-18. Asked a lot of questions to the community, got pummeled a lot about our ideas, but that helped us shape a concept that was formed with the help of our community advisory board over years. And we created meaningful partnerships with the likes of Oaklandish, which to date is a significant partner of ours. And all of this work led to the release of a crest, which Lindsay is wearing, that was received so well in our community in 2018. And that traction helped us bring to the table like-minded investors and people that believe in impact-oriented, purpose-oriented sports, believed in the ideas of diversity and inclusivity that Oakland represents so much in its history, and we went off to the races, and we joined a Division III league that we debuted in 2019. That game was absolutely memorable, stressful. For those that attended that game, I'm sure you can remember there was probably more people in Laney College than we can have. So sorry, OFD, but it was absolutely memorable. We were then able to use that momentum to have 3 more games in 2019. We unfortunately dealt with the blowback of a pandemic in 2020, had our debut in 2021 in a league called USL Championship, which sits at the Division II level in the US soccer structure in America. Had tremendous success, and now we're on year 3 now, going into March of this year, hoping to make a bigger and better run and do more work in the community. Obviously, so many layers to peel back, but I guess question back to you, Lindsay, what brought you here to Oakland, California, and more importantly, why?
So my background's not in sports. I have been a lawyer and an entrepreneur and done a lot of work in politics, did a brief stint in the Obama administration. And in 2016, I was having sort of a proverbial midlife crisis and trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do with my life. And I was trying to find the intersection of my skill set, which is deal making from years spent in New York City as a mergers and acquisitions attorney, and my passion, which is social justice, equity, inclusion. And at the moment I was searching for this place, a women's professional soccer team was launched where I grew up, which is Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was like a light bulb going off. Sports is the intersection of business and activism. And I talked my way into a job with that organization, initially as their lawyer, but then eventually transitioned to the business side. But as I found, although sports is the intersection of those two things, the activism side is not always peacefully coexist with the business side. And the activism is really largely led by the athletes. And so after some stints at different organizations, I learned about the Oakland Roots and immediately was interested in the organization. But it wasn't until a couple of years later that the Roots were looking for a president that a recruiter reached out to me and asked me if I was interested. And I really believe that there are not very many people in the world who truly can appreciate that there is value in our values, and that there's a real perfect fit between my background and the Oakland Roots. The thing that makes this organization so unique is that we are purpose driven. And that means we take our purpose into account in all of our decisions. When we put together our roster, we consider our club values. When we choose our corporate partners, we take our values into account. When we price our tickets, we want an Oakland Roots game. Obviously, we need ticket revenue to fund our operations, but we also want those games to be accessible. We are holding the line on the low end of our ticket spectrum pricing and making sure that it is as accessible as possible to the community of Oakland. So, Idris, I'm curious to know when you and your fellow co-founders were thinking, hey, there should be professional soccer in Oakland, what is it that led you to create it as a purpose-driven organization? And how did you go about defining the purpose? I guess maybe start by telling the purpose of the organization. And then how is it that you came to create that purpose for us?
Sure. Yeah, our purpose is to harness the magic of Oakland and the power of sport as a vehicle for social good. And I think, to put it, we wanted to challenge assumptions. We wanted to, as you mentioned, Lindsay, make purpose the forefront of our efforts. Oftentimes, purpose and profit are disassociated or they're not correlated. And it has always been my belief that when you do work in the community and you show up and you do it with the intention of humanity first, something special happens. Profit actually follows that. And we wouldn't have fans come to the games. We wouldn't sell out every single time if we weren't in the community and we didn't show up. We all know that Oakland holds you accountable unlike no other. And so we knew that this is, you know, very important to the community. We have to be a vehicle for happiness. I have seen the frustration that people have felt with sporting organizations in and out of Oakland. And, you know, it is not our jobs to create more frustrations for people. We are creating a product that provides magic to people, allows them to leave our games happier, more connected to the community. And it's important to lead with the community in mind. I firmly believe when you have a city's name in your identity, like we do in Oakland, you have to represent the values and the beliefs very strongly. Our two taglines are Oakland First Always and Know Your Roots. And those two are very, very important to us. We try to make every decision with Oakland first always in mind, whether it's buying a table from a local small business to, you know, thinking about the players and the makeup of our roster. All of this is super important to our identity. And furthermore, you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're from. And that's where Know Your Roots comes into play. We have a very unique history, a wonderful history, an impactful history, and all of that needs to be taken into account in the way in which we position ourselves on social media, the way we bring artists to our games. The fabric and the identity of the club has to represent the community. And to date, we've led with incredible initiatives. We've helped found the Anti-Racist Project in 2020, 2021, which led to an incredible curriculum that was deployed to professional teams across America on how to create a more inclusive front office, inclusive playing staff. And to date, I think we have probably 2 of 5 Black men in positions of power on our technical side, in our technical director and our head of player personnel. And those decisions are meaningful, and they change the way the game has been approached in the past. Right now, we are helping lead the Play Proud initiative, which is also in a similar vein, thinking very strongly about our LGBTQ plus community and creating a more inclusive game for those folks. So it's thinking about this at every level. We're a humanity first organization, and making those decisions can be difficult. And I think the question back to you is, you know, what are some of those things that we've faced over time that have been challenging, especially being a business in the profit world? Like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, it's very unusual for an organization to be as purpose forward as the Oakland Roots are in business in general, and also in particular in the sports world. The Oakland Roots is the first professional sports team in the United States to start with a purpose as opposed to just putting the club in place. And the way our purpose is lived every day is that we have a chief purpose officer. That is a part of he was one of our co-founders, Mike Geddes, and now he's in that role. And, you know, he's the person who makes sure that we're living it in all of our decisions. So a couple of specific examples. One way that we fund our operations is through corporate marketing partnerships. So we have all kinds of eyeballs on us. That's really valuable on our TV, on our social media, and in our stadium. And we sell, you can put your corporate logo on the front of our jersey or on the sleeve, or commercials in our broadcast with our broadcast partner, KTVU, or a field board, or you can activate, or we can join an activation in the community. You can activate at one of our games. And we're very conscientious when we are in conversation with potential corporations to exchange this value, to make sure that their values are aligned with us. And we have declined conversations with corporations that we think don't share our values. Another example I'll give is that every year we have Pride Night at one of our games. That often involves the players potentially wearing warm-up jerseys that have a rainbow flag on them, or jerseys where the numbers on the back are rainbow flags, some kind of nod to the community that this is a safe space. And everyone from our staff to our security to the players on the field are welcoming to the LGBTQ community. That means when we put players on our roster, we need to know that they are comfortable with that display of welcoming to that community. And I'll just say, like, there are soccer players in the world who aren't comfortable with that. And there are stories of players at other USL championship teams who have refused to participate in that celebration. And so, that's just two very specific ways in which we have, put our purpose forward in a way that has real consequences for our business decision-making. I know there's an elephant in the room, the proverbial room, and that is our game day facility. I already know there have been some questions in the chat. So why don't you address that, Idris? Where do we play our games, and what's the future look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get to that, I also want to caveat that 2023 is a very, very important year for us because we're introducing Oakland Soul, our women's team. And this is a long time in the works. We just unveiled the crest and identity this past year. So the rollout of our men's team, women's team, as well as our development team, Project 510, has created a conversation about the future in a way that I think we hadn't thought of prior. We currently play at Laney College, of which on a good day, we can fit 5,000-6,000 folks in, maybe. And we're bursting through the seams. Last year, we ended our season with 3 sold out games. We had to cut sales off because it was just crazy high demand. And I'm sure folks that attended remember those memorable games. And that is a problem for us because scalability is currently, a demand of our fan base. They want to attend our games. We can't house more people at Laney College. Though we love the locale, being at the literal intersection of East and West Oakland, close to downtown, the iconicism around it. We also are thinking about Laney faculty, students, and the programming around the school. We don't want to impact the incredible things that they have going on there. With the introduction of Oakland Soul and the continued development of Project 510, our development team, the conversation of where do we play in the short term and long term has become a reality. And as you all may have seen, just a couple of weeks ago, we put out a survey that highlights 2 locations, one at the Coliseum, one at Alameda Point, that we've narrowed our search from 30 plus locations to. And we're at the stage where we're interested in learning about these locations. We're interested in learning about our fans' view of these locations. We want to include people throughout every single part of this process. This isn't a one-way street. We want a game day venue for the next 10 years, quote unquote, interim, not a long-term, interim, that fans want to attend and can enjoy until we have a permanent solution in Oakland, California. So that's kind of our current pathway, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about what that means. I know someone in the comments said we should start taking questions at 1:15, so I want to miss that.
We can do that. We're happy to take questions. Isaac, I don't know if you've correlated, but.
Yeah, absolutely. I have. I've been keeping close tack.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I want to defer to President Mary and start with her question, which I think is also an interesting one that probably is a lot of people's minds. With so many immigrants in the U.S. with roots from Europe, why do we think soccer isn't more popular in the U.S.? Or and you can feel free to question the premise of that question.
Well, I was going to say the brightest minds in the world share your curiosity as to why it's not more popular here. But I would say that since the 1994 World Cup that was hosted in the United States, soccer has exploded in popularity in the US, and it is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. There are 2 fully professional men's leagues in MLS and USL Championship. There's a fully professional women's league in the NWSL, and another one on the horizon with the USL Super League. So I think that if you look at sort of how soccer has grown in the United States, it has been on the rise for well over 2 decades, 3 decades. And with the Men's World Cup that will be hosted in the United States in the next couple of years, it'll just be another leap forward. And the trajectory suggests that soccer will soon usurp the fan base for both baseball and hockey, with the NBA ahead, and then the NFL another giant leap ahead of that. Although, well, that's another conversation. But yeah, I agree. It is curious as to why it hasn't been more popular historically, but it has grown substantially recently, and I think that will continue to increase in the next few years.
I think you answered a part of President-elect Tom Lamone's question, but the other part I think you punted on, which I'd love to hear a little bit more about, which is especially with the health risks associated with American football. Do you see that as possibly leading to an increase in popularity in soccer in the U.S.?
Wow, you're trying to get us in trouble. Yeah, that's a very troubled sport. I'll say I stopped watching the NFL. So, and for that reason, amongst others. So I don't know if you have other thoughts on that, Idris,
Well,
but I do think it's tricky.
Yeah, well, we don't have an NFL team in Oakland anymore, so I'll say, yeah, absolutely. But look, I mean, beyond just the hazard that comes along with playing the sport of football, American football, soccer has an international appeal, and there's something special to it that more than religion itself has a bigger following, and there's something to be said about that. I think it will take time, but the growth of the women's game, specifically in America, has been astronomical, and we're here for it. And that's why I think perfect timing for Seoul. Soccer has always been big in Oakland. Let's not forget, right? Every time a Mexican club comes to the Coliseum, we sell that out 30, 40,000 people. We have one of the strongest bases of Latinx demographics in California, in the Fruitvale. And so there are a large amount of people in Oakland that love the sport. It's in their heritage and their blood. And we're excited to attend to those folks, as well as people that have not experienced the sport as well.
Greg asked, and I think you kind of answered it, obviously the World Cup, to some extent increased interest. Did you see any actually tangible increase in interest in the game around that time, or due to the lead up to the World Cup?
Well, Isaac, you tell us. You were at the watch party for the World Cup final. It was 7 a.m. on a Sunday. How well attended was it?
It was packed. It was packed. You couldn't get it. You couldn't get a cup of coffee. No, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Kudos to you all.
I mean, the answer to that is a resounding yes. We organized very thoughtfully around the World Cup, including with KTVU, our broadcast partner, and had coaches and technical staff and executive staff on many broadcasts during the World Cup. We were in the community with our pub partners, who are bars, who show our games and who come to our games and participate with us in the community, many of whom had watch parties. We had our own watch parties at Line 51 and
Athletic Club once, Plank and Jack London.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it really did. I don't know if you saw, like, on the social digital side, an uptick in activity.
Certainly. I mean, I think the World Cup is so interesting because it's the one point in time where, folks are rooting for countries that aren't their own. And that's a really weird phenomena that really doesn't happen across any other sport. So, I mean, at Plank specifically in Jack London, I was absolutely shocked as to how many different new faces we interacted with that we had never seen at games or did not cross our database. And so again, it's creating and generating a brand new energy of inspiration, and I think is pulling a lot of new folks in. And I can't wait to see what the impact is when the World Cup comes to America. And I've been super passionate about legacy projects that stay in Oakland and impact Oakland as well during that time, right? How do we harness this excitement in the Bay Area and actually allow it to impact our community in a positive way during this time? And it's our responsibility as an organization to think about that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I think we're probably running out of time of questions, but I want to do one quick, I'm going to kind of bundle up 3 sort of businessy questions. You can pick and choose what you want to share. Jason Weiselman asked, how do you get funding besides tickets? I think you touched a little bit on that, maybe share a little bit more. CJ asked a tough question about, kind of what are the potential challenges that the Alameda site faces? Because we're a little bit more familiar with the Coliseum site, and I did drop the survey into chat for everybody. And then Deborah Barnes asked a question about contrasting the women's and men's teams, recruitment, scouting, pay, et cetera. What does it look like? And then finally, just to get them all in there, Monica Nunez, our guest today, asked, what's your approach to workforce development, especially as you expand? So I know that's a whole bundle there, but if you want to, last couple minutes here, just share some thoughts on those, it'd be great.
Yeah, let's start with the women's team, Oakland Soul, because I think that the way the soccer pyramid is structured can get a little confusing. So let's start with that, and then we'll see how far we can get in the time we have. So the first thing to know is that soccer around the world, including the United States, there are lots of layers to the pyramid. You have professional leagues at the top, then you have pre-professional leagues, amateur leagues, and you also have some where professional and amateur players commingle, although in the United States that doesn't happen very often because of the NCAA. If there is anybody paid on the team for their participation, it prevents any amateurs from playing on that team, or it would interfere with the amateur players' NCAA status. So in the United States, on the women's side, right now, there's only one professional league, and that's the NWSL. And then the next highest league is the W League, and that's part of the USL, which is what we're a part of. So Oakland Soul will start in the W League, and that is a pre-professional league. And that means the players who play in that will largely be college students who are on break in between their spring and fall seasons and who are looking for training opportunities in the summer. So it'll be a 6-game season, and where those games will be held is to be announced. But it'll have a full-time head coach as well as full training staff. And then it has also been, we're one club, so everybody here wears, I'm currently wearing an Oakland Roots t-shirt, but I could just as easily have my Oakland Soul t-shirt on. We all straddle both teams. Our goal, if we can have the opportunity to do so, is to self-promote into a fully professional league for the women's team, so that the men's side and the women's side of our organization can look exactly alike. We'll have professional, pre-professional teams for both men and women. Right now, we don't have that opportunity for 2 reasons. 1, there's not a professional women's league that we have access to. And 2, we do not have a game day facility that would allow us to put 2 professional teams in the same space, so there's total equity between them. So to get started, Roots is what it is. It's existed for the time it has. We're actually following a very similar development path for the women's team, which is to start in the highest league that we have access to. And then hopefully, like I said, if the Super League, the women's professional league that the USL is talking about starting, can be created and we can find a game day facility, then we would promote our women's team, self-promote, which you can do in the United States. You cannot do that in Europe. In Europe or everywhere else around the world, you have to win to promote, but this is the United States, we do things a little bit differently. So I do want to be super clear about what Oakland Soul is and what it will get started. And that answer might have gobbled all the time. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that or any of the other questions.
Yeah, and Isaac, I forgot what the other questions were. So
No problem. I think I want to make sure we don't run over time. We're very good about that, and hopefully at least one of you might potentially be a future member, and we'll get a chance to ask you in person.
And also, please feel free to reach out to us. We love to chat with folks one-on-one. So any question that doesn't get answered, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to chat. But thank you very much for allowing us to be here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, great. Does any Rotarian have for the start of the new year, have any celebration or special event to share with us? Please put it on the chat. If any bell ringers. Just to let you know.
President Mary, Isaac has a bell ring. Why don't we unmute him and have him announce it?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it's a long one. I just wanted to shout us all out. Over 80 people showed up last minute, despite the last minute chain. That's amazing. A bell ring for that. A bell ring for Miss Rika. Amazing intro, beautiful story, and for serving on our communications committee. Really appreciate you. Deep and Sandeep, love your story. It's an inspiration for me, having lost my father a few years ago, especially. And of course, to Lindsay and Idris and the Oakland Roots. So proud to be a supporter of yours and onward and upward in 2023. Look forward to seeing you all soon.
So can you clarify how many bell rings that is?
Since I just closed out all my end of year donating, I'm gonna say it's one big bell ring.
One big bell ring, okay. So just to let you know, a bell ringer is a generous tax deductible donation of $100 to Oakland Rotary Endowment. And also let you know, any bell ringer beginning today will go into Tom Lemon year, so he'll be happy to hear more bell ringers from you guys. All right, Trish Connor, could you tell us about next week's speaker?
Yes, I can. Thank you, President Mary. Alex Filipenko, Dr. Alex Filipenko is an American astrophysicist and professor of astronomy at UC Berkeley. He's going to present on his most recent research on black holes and the accelerating expansion of the universe. So before your eyes start glazing over, like mine always do when we talk about science, you will be pleased to know that Dr. Filipenko has been voted the best professor at Cal for 9 years, the most of any professor. His talks are always very interesting, and he brings it to life and makes it so that people like me